I could not even begin to tell you how excited I am to have you all here on this stage with me. Rewatching the film, I think it only continues to reveal new depths. So I'm excited to get into it. Alex, let's start with you. I want to ask you to sort of set the stage by telling us a bit about where this film came from, where there's the concept and there's the execution. And could you start with the concept and sort of, it's your first feature film. It is, I would say, a highly conceptual film that's also incredibly specific in its kind of texture. And yeah, so where did the concept emerge from?
First off, thank you for staying for the Q&A. I'm about to talk for a really long time. I appreciate it. So I don't know if it's clear from the film, but I used to struggle with, I still do, like adolescent depression and religious trauma. It's definitely in there a lot. But I think my transition when I first went to college, I had a lot of different structural pitfalls, and I had essentially a full-blown, very vicious ego death that was like this disassociative period for 6 months where I kind of lost, just a full-on, attacked by my brain, and I was just in this very lost period of my life where I was diving into texts and movies and trying to find some sort of string of words to fix my brain, and I ended up going to my buddy's place to play Monopoly, and this is really at the end of it sounds heavy, but I went to my buddy's place to play Monopoly, and at the time I think we were arguing about if a silverback gorilla could kill a grizzly bear, and he was convinced that a silverback gorilla could somehow get it in a headlock, some bullshit that and so we start arguing. I'm like, there's no way, he's got claws, there's the weight advantage to the grizzly, and we literally start scream arguing. And I remember my vision, which had just been it felt like the sunken place, this disassociative period. My vision just kind of snapped forward, and I was overwhelmed with this emotion. I started crying. My friend's like, it's not that serious, dude. And then it's a very basic story, but as a kid, as an 18-year-old, I was convinced that I was I needed a reason to stick around, and in that moment, it was proof to me, which is very simple, but it was just I'm gonna stick around to talk to people, and conversation is kind of the only time I'm actually present, and so that was that was the emotional beginning. The other one was just it's high on my buddy's porch, dude, what if the fucking road never ended, that'd be crazy. So those two was the conceptual beginning, and that was yeah. So then there's the execution part. I'm gonna talk for a really long fucking time, sorry.
Go for it.
Okay, so we graduate into the pandemic in 2020. I move home with my degree in hand. My parents are like, I fucking told you so. I'm in my childhood bedroom. I'm this is insane. I start, how far back should I go? I was online and just through the string of, you're all captive, I'm gonna go very in depth. I was I post online for a while. I'm writing feature screenplays for strangers for $1,000 on Upworks, and I'm getting paid to make memes during the whole GameStop fiasco. It was this whole thing that was I've cleansed the internet of those, but I just knew that the whole time we knew that the independent feature was the future. That's an extremely exploitative industry. There's no ladder. All of my heroes had done it, but we were okay, how do we actually pull this off? At the time, our film school, Florida State, shout out Florida State, set up this thing called the well, no wonder you guys liked it. Half the fucking school is here. It's they set up this alumni package, which was free equipment, and they built a volume screen in an abandoned Allman Brothers Band studio that they had bought in Tallahassee and left. And they didn't totally know how to use the screen, and so if you can figure it out, write a dissertation, you can shoot on it for free. So we're great. We budgeted out. Sorry, I hear my sales team being shut the fuck up, don't talk. But originally we budgeted out we can shoot this movie for $35,000, and so we're okay, how do we get that? So this is okay. I'm gonna speed this up. I post a YouTube video. Someone comments on it. It's I would pay for more of this. I respond with my email, my social security, my phone number. I'm here's everything. He's he ends up being a career magician who from ages 18 to 26 worked on a Carnival cruise line. Who was a stagehand to a mountain lion act. One day the mountain lion dies. They fire him. They dumps all of his money that he saved for 8 years in the stock market in like '08. It blows up. He uses that to finance a magician on the street show, which he gets picked up at Spike. He becomes this renowned magician, which he uses to launch his author career. Wins a Peabody Award for writing sci-fi, like young adult novels. Gets on the board of OpenAI, and here's $10,000. There's nothing, right? Like it's whatever. There's another guy. So we're like, okay, we're off to the races. There's another guy who, he saw the sketch, and I'm not going to get into the whole story, but he was paying me to make custom videos for his family to watch, like just him and his daughters. He's really rich. It wasn't fetish shit. It was like me. It was like if trees could talk and like stuff, because he really liked the sketches, and he had like 8-year-old daughters that were PG, and he paid me every time, but he was like, what are you doing next? And I was like, we're doing a feature. So he put a little bit of money in. Then I have a really great friend who is this very successful YouTuber. You haven't, I mean, maybe you've heard of him, but since the death of the monoculture, he's kind of found his like algorithmic niche, and he wants to get into legacy media, and he's also this deeply supportive friend to me, just like as I've been moving through COVID and stuff, and he was like very early in the script phase, and he was just like very, very supportive, so he gave us a little money. So we're sitting here, and we're almost there. There's 2 more sources. I don't really know how to talk about this other one, but, and thank you, I'm so fucking sorry. I would go into, I don't know if I believe in manifesting or whatever the hell, but I would go into virtual reality poker lobbies and set my location at downtown West Hollywood and affluent areas of LA, and I would get to the higher roll tables, and I would like, it's fake money, but to pay money, you have to pay money to get this, doesn't matter. But I would get to the high roller tables and just shoot the shit with all of the people there who have disposable income and a gambling instinct, which makes them perfect for independent film investing. I'm not like. Genuinely, and I would spend hours in there, and eventually it's anonymous, but people would be like, oh, what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I'm putting a feature together, we're shooting in November. We weren't shooting in November, but he was like, I did all the VFX for Del Toro's movies, I've always wanted to produce, here's some money. So we're like, holy shit, we're off to the races. And then it didn't end up costing what we thought it would, and our last bit of a turn, but it's very baked into the themes of the movie. We're very blessed to have the parents set up. There's a film fund in the memory of one of our good friends called Spark the Arts. It's in the credits, and they covered the last remaining parts of that original budget, which we're very grateful for. So all of those sources came together. We shot in 2022. The movie wasn't super great. I had never paced for longer than 20 minutes. You know, it was like a first draft. Oh, cast it off of, also, holy shit, the cast is so fucking talented.
Amazing.
Yes. I posted on Instagram, and I was just like, yo, we're making a movie, submit your friends, and that's how I got the majority of the cast, besides Mitch, who literally does HVAC repair in Florida, like the guy that in the beginning. He's like a modern Robert Redford. He's so amazing. But we shoot, you know, it's a first feature. It was like back in like 2022.
We were all like 23.
Yeah.
I was 19, y'all.
Yes, literally. Insane.
I genuinely grew up on this film.
Yeah, we did like they could have done the entire play, like the whole movie as a play too. We did kind of following style where I knew like there's this thing that happens when you don't have much resources and you bump up against 12 hours is either the BTL takes the brunt and they hate their effing lives, or you make creative sacrifices. So at the end of the day, we'd try to protect the crew, be like, all right, this whole scene is one setup now. So like we made a lot of creative sacrifices to like make that first movie happen, because we're shooting a feature on a short film budget. That film, we think we blew it. Strikes hit. I hit up the magician. I'm like, can I screen this movie to like your rich neighbors, because he lives in San Fran? And we start doing that. I'm selling the movie. I'm like $3,000 a share for this made up fucking thing that doesn't exist. And so starts wheeling doing shares. My YouTuber friend comes back. And we go and we finance this round of pickups, and we shoot like 7 days, plug holes and stuff. That version gets into Fantasia. We're like, okay, this is the, holy shit, I'm sorry, guys.
They're prepared for this, Alex. They literally signed up for it.
Thank you, Akira. We go for post, which I learn is ungodly expensive for whatever reason. So we have 2 alumni approach us, Ben Meckler and Chris Amick, who are amazing. They're like, can we have EP credits if we get you post financing? I'm like, you have director credit if you want. You know whatever the fuck you want. They take it out. And and some people come back and they bite, but mostly Snoot Entertainment hits us up, and they've done this process of selling independent films, and the most important, they're like, are you open to pickups? And we're like, fuck yes. And at this point, you know, I was like, we'd all, you know, come of age. I was like 2 years post, you know, we continuously, we would just screen the movie over and over in like my living room apartment, or like random friend groups in LA, like, hey, you want to watch a movie and like the end of your night and, you know, ruin the rest of their weekend or whatever. And then we had like a 3-hour cut and just kept cutting it down. So we went back, plugged the holes with more resources than we'd ever had from Snoot, and then that version gets into South by. Now we're here. That's it. Thank you so much. Holy shit.
Thank you for that, because I think that is one of the most comprehensive production overviews I've gotten on this stage.
Thank you.
And it is that much more impressive, I think, hearing that backstory to then see the finished product and the polish of it and the assurance of it and the sort of coherence of the finished product is, I think, that much more impressive.
Thank you.
I want to turn to Carrie and Evan as producers on this project. I think on a small independent project like this, the role of producer can come to encompass many roles. I noticed in the credits, Carrie, you were production designer.
Yes,
And Evan, first AD.
Yes.
And so I could, yeah.
and wardrobe.
Could you speak a little bit about how you both came on board to the project and how you how you discovered what the role of producer would be for you on this film in particular?
That's actually a great question, because we were not producers when we started this. We're all directors technically, but to make your first feature, you just have to make a feature. And Alex had a great horror idea, which is a great breakout genre. And but we all went to school together at FSU, and we all just had that communal, like, let's just make a movie. We have some. I mean, we basically become like Alex's parents. We become all the crew's parents. It's actually really just parenting as producing, honestly, or a wedding manager, quite similar. But production designing actually was a really special thing for me, because I don't typically produce, and so it was a really creative outlet I could have, where I could escape for a second, sit in the Jeep and deck it out, and then come back and be like, okay, let's get down to business, guys. We actually have a crazy story about how the Jeep got into the soundstage. About half the movie is on the stage, would you say?
Yeah, pretty much everything inside the car, but this was the hardest this was the hardest story for producing.
Yeah, so like at the very beginning, our first round of shooting, when we had no money, considering making a movie, we convinced our school to put a Jeep on their stage. However,
it was a recording studio where they just needed people to come in and out of the building. They never needed vehicles to come in and out of the building.
Doors for humans.
Doors for humans, and this is where they built the LED volume wall that is as tall as this screen. It is giant, and unfortunately, to get a Jeep into there, we had to roll the Jeep onto its side and then cut it in half with a plasma torch just behind the back passenger doors. And
then we strapped it back together at one point.
And then we had to strap it back together. But the issue even with that is once we got through the double doors, there was a corridor where on this side is a wall, and 51 3/4 inches away from that wall is the back half of $1 million LED volume wall, and we have to guide a Jeep in between these two things. And if it were to fall on that volume wall, there was a firing squad in the rafters ready to execute us on site. And we actually shot 2 weeks worth of this movie without knowing if the Jeep would fit into the volume stage.
Yeah, so the weekend before in our time off.
Yeah, it was actually a 14-day week for me, Carrie, and Alex figuring this out.
And the weekend before we were shooting on the stage, we had a single night to get it on that stage. So we had no idea if it was actually going to fit. And luckily,
fortunately,
both of our dads were correct about the width of the hallway.
Shout out dads.
Shout out dads. And it fit.
But it fit by, it was 51 1/4 inch and a 51 3/4 inch gap. So we had half an inch of clearance, actually a 1/4 of an inch of clearance on each side of it as we rolled a Jeep that's on its side going this way, and then flip it back over, connect it back together, and then steal all of the parts from our working Jeep to fill in the fake Jeep on the sound stage. And so I'm literally we shoot in 2 hours, and I'm trying to pull a steering wheel off the Jeep while I'm crying because I've never done that before. And there's a live airbag right there that could go off at any second. I'm like, the crew's gonna be here in 2 seconds. We need the fucking steering wheel. I gotta get the fucking steering wheel.
Building the headliner. It's 4 a.m. We have to shoot in the morning.
Yeah.
But it was actually one of our favorite nights ever. So, and Evan and I, we joke about opening a Jeep Cherokee workshop because we could build it.
Specifically,
just the 1994 Jeep Cherokee.
No, it's the 96 model and the 94 model
right,
specifically.
Our 96
yeah, we can do those 2 years, not the 95, but 94, 96 we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was our biggest challenge, honestly. One night of terror and who knows. But then everything else was, it's a lot of learning. I don't even know how to get into it, but it's really just trusting each other, and that's how we were able to learn to produce, really.
I think one thing that we figured out is like we were kind of like the first two fans of the movie, and we were that audience to Alex to be like, hey, this part's actually fucking sick, and you're an idiot for doubting it. Like, commit to this right now.
I
'Cause it's
literally
awesome.
would not be here in every sense of the word without both of them. Like they both have dope movies they're working on that you should also they direct to. Shout out.
I think we have a lot of talents to watch here in
Yeah.
this group. I want to ask you, Akira. I think I think, as I mentioned in my intro, I think the film's lifeblood is in its performances. I think being able to bring together 4 performers who are charming and interesting enough to hold an audience's attention and interest and affection for what's kind of experientially can be punishing at moments, but in productive ways. But so could you speak a bit about your relationship with your character, and specifically, you pull off something very interesting, and impressive, which is that for a film about the passage of time, an elliptically structured film where time passes, much more time, of course, is passing in the film than we see. But the sort of subtle gradations in your character's mood and affect and kind of vibe really is what allows us, the audience, to experience this passage of time and to feel how much time has passed and how despair is building or resignation or whatnot. Could you just speak a little bit about what was your way into this character?
So I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of trouble with Day because she's much more, I want to say pessimistic or like jaded than I am. And when I came in, I was like 19, like, oh yeah, I'm away from home. Like it was a really big change for me. And I remember Alex being like, you're too happy, you know what I mean? But I really had to tap into a not so fun part of me because she is going through a lot of struggle outside of the road, right? And then when she gets on the road, it's just like, she's kind of just like, this is happening to me and I can't really do anything about it. She feels kind of like out of control. But as you go through the story, she kind of like goes from like inward. She's kind of like closed off and she's like, well, this is our lives. Now we gotta, kind of like open up to it. And honestly, having Noah, Finn, and Mitch by my side really allowed me to kind of like express that on camera. They're so incredibly talented and we spent so much time in that car, y'all. We were definitely besties by the end of it. Like if we weren't at the beginning, by the end of it, like year 3, we're like brothers. Like Noah's my brother. I love acting with him like that. Those little moments like Jane Goodall when we're like screaming about her Nobel Prize. I don't even know if she won one for real, but like that was an organic moment. Like that was improv, you know what I mean? And they make it so easy to have fun on that set. Like Day and Way Later is my favorite part, you know what I mean? And I just like seeing the genuine, like, the gradual shift from her being more jaded into like a happy, fun-loving person. And how I tapped into that was just having an awesome cast, honestly. And thank you to Alex for like letting us play around because on an indie film like this with the not so like big budget, like you don't have time to play around like that. So rehearsal was a really big part. Like rehearsal was insane. This was my first day on like I guess production pretty much, and I had not met Alex for like I spoke to him the night before, but like they came in and they were so goofy, so like funny, and they let us really like express ourselves, so it made acting with each other very easy. And yeah, I'm happy that y'all can see that come across on screen.
Yeah, they're essentially all first-timer, actors, genuinely, which is
It's my first feature film.
Yeah.
And they're also, for so much of the movie, they're you see the stage behind them, like the screen of the trees and everything. They're staring at us and a black wall.
I'm looking at Evan push the car from underneath it back and forth, and I'm like,
And they're not breaking. Like I don't think they ever break once. So
I just can't look down for too long. Also, another thing, y'all, let me know if y'all noticed this. One of the big problems was Alex, because I couldn't drive. I could not drive when I first started this film.
Yeah.
And Alex was like, you're looking away from the road too much. Did I do a good job? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
She did learn. We actually were teaching her the moves of like the reversing
And are you driving now?
that
Are you
night.
driving?
I'm an
'Cause we're-
awesome
right.
driver now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to make sure to leave space for just a couple of audience questions. We're a little short on time, but I'm sure that there are questions. There's a mic that'll come around. So I see a hand in the back right there. Mic's coming to you.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say I adored this film. I think it's a perfect film, and it really blew me away. So congratulations to everyone. Love you, Carrie. The writing especially, I mean, all of it. But my question is, if you had to say, maybe this is a lame question, if there is a message of the film, if there's something you're trying to say, what would you say that is?
I mean, I don't want to like say it directly outright because I do think there's a lot of, you can kind of project a lot onto the film, which is what I think some of my favorite movies do that allow me to do that. I do want to say objectively this is an optimistic ending, if that wasn't totally clear by the needle drop that has a high key that's happy. But like, I think I would say, they all have different answers to the situation they're in. And I think each individual reaction to that meaninglessness and like that drudgery is completely valid. Like, I honestly think there's a lot of different answers in the film. For James specifically, who I think mirrored my own journey the most, it was one of like presence. It was also one of like, there's something that's very interesting that I also mainly was another one of my goals with this film, which was like trying to combine some sort of like verite experience with straight formalism. Like the idea of like a genre movie in general is like, oh, I'm gonna run into these like identifiable objects, I'm gonna overcome them, and then I will learn from them. And then you find out that real life is more just like a scrap in the mud that has nothing that like, there's absolutely no identifiable, this is the next step to the next stage. And James is still stuck in that genre movie when we leave it in the second half, and he's just like, where's this next thing? Where's this next plot point? Where's this next, like, we're moving toward, where's the goal? What is the goal of all of this? When the real goal was just Day and Fisher shooting the shit, making memes and stuff and hanging out. And I think that's what James specifically was missing out on, was presence in his own life. He comes into this world with like, I've got he's already jaded about his life. He's fucking 22, like, I think him specifically was engaging with, his actual fears and his anxieties, which he definitely bottled the entire time as a way to like logically process himself out of his own suffering, which is impossible. And so for him specifically, it would be, it's on the nose, but vibe.
That's yeah. Advice for life too, just vibe.
But there's really any interpretation actually works, really.
Vibes.
I love vibes. We can take one more question, I think.
How much gas did you use?
Carrie, Evan?
We got asked that at our last Q&A, and we were supposed to find the answer for that.
We
But,
didn't really?
did we? It was, we kept it pretty low key. No, I'm just kidding. It was probably a couple grand. Truthfully, I don't know how many gallons that is, but that thing chugs gas. Like,
And it's
I wanted to
extremely
keep it. We sold it to the school. They use it now for students. Pretty awesome. I miss the Jeep, but it does guzzle gas.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. And we drove down this one state park road for the exteriors over and over, and it's at least like 2 or 3 miles. So picture that for 12 hours a day for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Also, it's really old, and we used it as like our production car, like to get like the cast to and from set, and it stopped working at the gas station. Yeah, it didn't
you
start.
right.
Yeah, that was early on. We fixed it.
That might be a little too much for right now, but yeah, I like
I
the.
wanna say, we literally, the car completely dies.
It
and
dies.
I'm like, holy shit, we're supposed to be shooting, we're at a gas station. Fucking Akira does behind me, I see her doing like a
He's lying. I just
no,
said
it's like a spell with like holy water. I'm not kidding you.
She would do that a lot, though. Even we actually needed it to rain. We filmed in Florida. It never rained. She would also do that for us.
She had this little, like a vial of
it was just anointing oil. All I did was
Anointing
say,
oil.
I was like, God, please. I was like, please turn the car back
and it
on.
fucking
And then
started the
went
second like
Just like
whatever.
the
film.
movie.
That's exactly what happened. And
It's
I was
insane.
like, yeah, guys.
She is magical. She is genuinely magical.
Okay, we can take one more question. I'll do that. I see a hand in the very back there. Yeah, there's the mic.
Hey, Alex, what scares you?
Damn.
Sorry.
No.
I used to
Let
be
me.
scared.
I'm thinking of an answer. I should, I'm not gonna just be like.
Got a couple. Just let me know if you want me to tap in.
Oh, we know some for Alex, actually.
Probably. All right, I'll go like on Maslow's hierarchy of needs from a base, like a lower level is just genuine, like watching people I love be like really suffering right now. Like with this is a great, like this movie's awesome and it's, put us on a platform, but the industry specifically and the people that I genuinely love, I have watched, move home or be exploited. And I think that is kind of, there's this very loving center of the core of this movie with a lot of people. And it's just been, we've just been slowly separated, slowly isolated. I think that, financial instability within the film industry, you're like, I'm at the stage too where kind of watching everyone's lives like fully solidify, like, oh shit, my inspiration for Mitch or Tyler specifically is like, yeah, he's like in a bad spot and that's gonna be his life. And it's like this movie was really about the movement into adulthood, and now there's this like tiny extra space after that, which is like actually watching them engage in where their life is at forever. So that is definitely the thing that weighs on me the heaviest. From like a animalistic standpoint, I guess like shootings and more like turbulence on a plane sometimes. Probably just like random suffering. Ever see the Russian brick video? Ever seen that? No, it's like probably like random, abstract, insane, horrific suffering that happens for no. I mean, look at the world also right now. Probably horrific, abstract suffering caused by other humans for no fucking reason, or just like the chaotic, cosmos of a fucking brick skip. It's when a brick skips off a road and you're like. Kills this woman and you listen to this guy look it up. Actually, don't look it up.
That was in the original script, by the way.
There was a whole scene where they talked about it and I had to cut it out because enough slow cinema in the second half already. But yeah, probably those couple of things. And then Q&A questions like that too, like that. Thank you, that was a good question, thank you.
Probably like failure. I know that's like a lot of people's answer, but like, I like to win. I like to be happy. And I feel like real failure is just like me not doing what I want to do with my life. So, yeah.
What was the fear that you said you had for me?
For me.
You said you had we have
said
Alex's,
used
we
to.
know Alex's fears.
Oh, I mean, we know a lot. Like, you kind of said it, though.
Okay,
I'll say it. You were afraid of wearing blue jeans for a while. Like you just didn't want to wear.
He would
blue
not wear
jeans.
them for years.
it took
He
me a
actually
lot.
was
There's the
supposed to wear
fucking, the baggy pants are really popular right now style-wise. I just felt like a fucking, like a dwarf when I wore the baggy, the fucking baggy pants.
Like boot cut?
No, like like suit. Like this is a decent amount of it's like, this is pretty tight, but dude, look at Silver Lake or wherever, what's the Silver Lake equivalent in New York?
Bushwick.
Ridgewood.
Williamsburg, actually.
Just look around there for those big pants. I could not fucking rock those. I'll look like a moron.
Big pants.
Yeah, those scare me, I guess. You didn't answer, Evan. For your fear, yeah.
Oh, I'm reading Cujo right now. So rabid dogs and biting chunks out of your thighs and being stunk in a hot car with no AC. That's my fear right now.
That's a beautiful opportunity to plug
Sorry.
screenings on Wednesday. We have a dog double feature, so come back. Evan, you're very
Good
welcome.
Boy is great. Is it Good Boy? Good Boy's great, guys.
Also, thank you, Lincoln Center. Holy shit. Thank you.
Lincoln Center.
Thank you all, and thank you all
I
so
have
much.
one more thing. Okay, so Noah would like literally love it, but he's on the
Oh,
phone right
no.
now. This is Fisher. Everybody say hi. Do you have anything to say, Noah? Oh, wait. I'm turning it up. Go.
You really FaceTime. I'm looking at the crowd. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming to see our movie. This is the craziest FaceTime call I've ever received in my entire life. This is so cool. Oh my God. You guys all look so good.
Love you, dude.
Thank you so much.
I think that's all the time we have. So thank you all
Thank
so
you,
much.
thank you, thank you,
guys.
thank you,
Thank you all so much.